There comes a moment in every person's life when they must stop chasing shadows and begin chasing their true self. Too many people set their eyes only on the outer rewards, money, fame, possessions, and wonder why, when they finally reach them, they still feel empty. They work tirelessly to impress one race that matters, the race towards their own highest potential. When your self-worth depends on the approval of others, you hand them the keys to your happiness. And sooner or later, they'll drop them. Becoming your own standard, set a standard for yourself that is higher than anything the world expects of you, not because you have to, but because you can. Wake up each morning with a question: how can I be better today than I was yesterday? Not better than your neighbor, not better than your colleague, better than the you of yesterday. That is the only competition worth running. You don't need to chase the life you want when you become the person who naturally attracts it. The discipline of self-improvement, if you make yourself the goal, discipline is no longer a punishment, it becomes an investment. You train your body because strength gives you energy to serve your purpose. You sharpen your mind because wisdom helps you see opportunities others miss. You guard your habits because they are the invisible architects of your future. And here's the beautiful part: when you grow yourself, the external goals you once chased will start chasing you. Opportunities, relationships, and resources will flow towards you because the person you've become is ready to receive them. A life that can't be taken away. Titles can be taken away. Bank accounts can be drained. Status can be lost in a day. But the person you become, your resilience, your mindset, your mastery cannot be stolen. That is your permanent wealth. When storms come, the person who has made themselves the goal will stand firm. The world may change, but you will adapt. Opportunities may close, but you will create new ones, because you are not defined by what you have, you are defined by who you are. The challenge for you today, so I challenge you starting today, stop chasing the next shiny thing. Stop living for applause. Stop waiting for someone to crown you. Instead, set your eyes on one mission: to become the strongest, wisest, most disciplined, and most courageous version of yourself. When you make yourself the goal, your life cannot help but rise to match it. And one day, you will look back and realize everything you once thought you wanted was only a fraction of what you gained, simply because you became the kind of person who could have it all and more. The world changes when you do, and when you make yourself the goal, you will watch your life change in ways you never thought possible. Most people go through life pointing their eyes, their time, and their energy at everything except the one place that matters most: themselves. They think, if I can just get that job, if I can just earn that amount, if I can just have those things, they will be fulfilled. And yet, how many times have you seen someone get the prize they chased for years, only to feel an emptiness inside? That emptiness exists because they forgot the most important truth. The greatest investment you will ever make is in yourself. Turning the focus inward does not mean becoming selfish. It means becoming self-aware, self-responsible, and self-directed. It means recognizing that the foundation of everything you will ever accomplish in life is built upon the person you choose to become. The problem is, most people build their lives backwards. They set the outer goal first: a car, a house, a promotion, and then they scramble to become whatever is necessary to get it. And when they do get it, they realize they never built themselves strong enough to hold on to it, or wise enough to enjoy it. The person who turns the focus inward flips this process around entirely. They understand that if they first strengthen the root, the fruit will naturally follow. They don't just ask, what do I want to have? They ask, who do I want to be? And then they pour themselves into becoming that person with relentless dedication. Imagine your life as a building. The possessions, the achievements, the public recognition, these are all decorations, furniture, and paint. They may look beautiful, but without a strong foundation, the building will crumble at the first sign of a storm. Your mind, your character, your discipline, your attitude, these form the foundation. When you make yourself the goal, you are pouring concrete into that foundation every single day. Turning the focus inward also demands honesty, brutal, uncompromising honesty. You cannot grow what you will not face. Ask yourself, where am I weak? Where am I undisciplined? Where am I accepting less from myself than I know I'm capable of? This is where many people turn away, because it is easier to point at external problems than to confront the truth within. But here is the irony. Every external problem is easier to solve when you are stronger on the inside. Every challenge feels smaller when your mind is sharp, your spirit is resilient, and your habits are aligned with your purpose. When you focus on yourself, you stop wasting energy on what you cannot control. You stop blaming the economy, the competition, or bad luck. You understand that while you may not be able to change the wind, you can always adjust your sails. You can improve your skills, you can discipline your mind, you can master your habits, and these are the levers that move the world in your favor. There is a quiet power that comes from this inward focus. You no longer need constant praise or validation because your confidence is built on a deeper truth. You know you are becoming better every day. This is the kind of confidence that no one can give you and no one can take away. It comes from the daily victories that no one else sees, the early mornings when you choose work over comfort, the moments when you keep a promise to yourself even when no one is watching, the times you push through when quitting would be easy. And here is the reward. When you make yourself the goal, everything else becomes easier. The career you want, the relationships you desire, the life you dream of, these begin to move toward you because you have become the kind of person who naturally attracts them. You no longer have to chase opportunity. Opportunity begins to chase you. The world will try to distract you with noise, with urgency, with endless comparisons. But the wisest decision you can make is to take all that scattered energy and turn it toward the one project that will never fail to pay you back, the project of you. If you grow yourself, everything you touch will grow. If you discipline yourself, everything you manage will flourish. And if you believe in yourself deeply enough to invest in your own growth every single day, you will live to see a life far richer, fuller, and freer than anything you could have imagined, not because of what you've gained, but because of who you've become. When you turn the focus inward, you stop living as a reaction to the world and start shaping the world as a reflection of your highest self, and that is when life truly begins to change. Most people live their entire lives running a race they didn't choose. They wake up each morning, lace up their shoes, and sprint in a direction someone else pointed them toward: parents, friends, society, even strangers they've never met. They measure their worth by someone else's scoreboard. They compare their progress to another person's timeline, and because of that, they spend their days in quiet frustration, feeling as though they're always behind, always lacking, always falling short. But here is a truth that can set you free. The only race worth running is the race against yourself. When you measure yourself by the growth you've made from yesterday to today, and from today to tomorrow, you reclaim control over your destiny. Think of it this way: there will always be someone ahead of you in some area of life. Someone richer, someone stronger, someone more experienced, someone with more resources. And if you measure yourself by their position, you'll never find peace, because there will always be another person ahead of them, and another ahead of that. You'll spend your life chasing a finish line that keeps moving farther away. But when you measure yourself only against your own past performance, you discover something powerful. You can win every single day, because no matter where you start, you can improve. No matter how small the progress, if you are better today than you were yesterday, you are winning. This mindset removes the poison of envy. It frees you from the weight of comparison. It puts the focus exactly where it belongs, on what you can control. And what you can control is you, your habits, your effort, your attitude, your persistence. Picture two runners on a track. One has been running for years, the other only for a few months. If the newer runner compares themselves to the seasoned athlete, they might feel hopeless, wondering why they can't match that speed. But what they may not see is that, compared to last month, they're running faster than ever before. That's real progress, and in the only race that truly matters, that progress is victory. When you stop competing with others, something beautiful happens. You can start learning from them instead. Instead of resenting someone who's ahead, you can study them. You can take notes on their strategies, their discipline, their mindset. Their success no longer threatens you, it inspires you. You become a student of greatness, not a rival filled with bitterness. This shift is not just about mental peace, it's about power. The energy you once wasted on comparing, complaining, and envying is now free to fuel your own growth. You can channel it into new skills, stronger habits, better thinking. And because you are measuring against yourself, you see progress more clearly. Every small step forward becomes a victory you can celebrate, which builds momentum to take the next step and the next. It's important to remember the race against yourself never ends. There is no finish line where you can say, "I've made it, I'm done." Life is a constant process of becoming. The moment you stop striving to improve, you start slipping backward. That's why the commitment to run your own race must be renewed daily. Ask yourself each morning, what can I do today to be just a little better than I was yesterday? That one question is enough to keep you moving forward for the rest of your life. In this personal race, you are both the competitor and the referee. You decide the rules, you decide the pace, you decide what counts as victory, and because of that, you are in full control. No one can block your progress, no one can disqualify you, and no one can take away your wins because they are measured against the one person you can always improve upon, yourself. Now imagine living 10 years this way. Imagine the compound effect of daily self-improvement. Even small changes, stacked day after day, transform into extraordinary growth. You won't just be ahead of where you were, you'll be unrecognizable compared to the person you are now. And that transformation will not depend on luck, opportunity, or the permission of others. It will depend only on your willingness to run the only race that matters. When you stop chasing someone else's idea of success and start chasing your own potential, the pressure lifts. Life becomes lighter, clearer. You can appreciate your wins without comparison. You can work hard without resentment. You can admire others without feeling smaller yourself. And here's the greatest reward. You will never again feel the need to prove yourself to anyone. Because the only person you are proving anything to is the person you were yesterday. When you make this shift, when you commit to running your own race, you'll discover that you've been free all along. The chains were never around your feet. They were in your mind, and the moment you choose to break them, you will run faster, further, and freer than you ever thought possible. Most people live their lives according to the standards the world sets for them, and those standards are often painfully low. Society says, do enough to get by. It rewards mediocrity if it comes wrapped in comfort and convenience. It tells you that being average is acceptable, even admirable, and the danger is, if you're not careful, you'll begin to accept those standards for yourself. But you were not created to be average. You were not placed here to simply meet the minimum requirements of life. You were designed to reach for heights most people won't even attempt, and that will only happen when you set a standard for yourself that far exceeds what the world expects of you. When you set your own high standard, you free yourself from the limitations of others. You stop waiting for external permission to excel. You stop looking around for validation. You stop lowering your bar to match the comfort level of the crowd. Instead, you rise each morning with an inner command. I will demand more from myself than anyone else would dare to demand from me. The truth is, no one else can truly hold you accountable to your highest potential. Even those who care for you most will eventually settle for seeing you do well enough. Only you can know when you've given your all. Only you can know when you've done everything within your power. That's why your own standard must be higher than theirs. Think about the great achievers in history. They were never satisfied with meeting expectations. They broke them. They didn't aim for good enough. They aimed for extraordinary, not because the world told them to, but because they told themselves to. They understood that the world's applause is temporary, but self-respect lasts forever. And here is the beauty of holding yourself to a higher standard. It changes everything you touch. When you demand precision and excellence from yourself, your work begins to shine. When you demand discipline from yourself, your habits sharpen. When you demand integrity from yourself, your reputation strengthens. These are not things you can fake. They are built through daily commitment to a standard others might not understand, but you live by without compromise. Setting a higher standard does not mean you will be perfect. You will stumble. You will have days when you fall short. But here's the difference. The world's standard says, you failed, stop trying. Your standard says, you failed, get up and go again. One mindset lets the failure define you. The other uses it to refine you. It is easy to keep a high standard when life is going smoothly. The true test comes in moments of struggle, fatigue, or discouragement. This is where most people drop their standards and settle for whatever is easiest. But if you can hold the line even in those moments, if you can say, I will not lower my bar simply because life feels heavy, then you have separated yourself from the masses in a way that nothing else can match. Every day is an opportunity to prove to yourself that your standard is real. When you could cut corners, you choose precision. When you could skip the hard work, you choose to do it anyway. When you could compromise your values, you stand firm. And each time you do, you build a kind of inner strength that no loss, no setback, and no criticism can shake. High standards also have a magnetic quality. They draw the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances into your life. People notice when you refuse to do sloppy work. They notice when you keep your word. They notice when you hold yourself to a level of excellence they don't see anywhere else. And those people, the ones who value excellence, will want to work with you, support you, and stand beside you. In time, the standard you live by becomes your identity. It's no longer something you try to do, it's simply who you are. You become the kind of person who naturally produces great work, naturally lives with integrity, naturally strives for mastery. And because of that, your results in life change almost effortlessly. So never accept the world's minimum when you are capable of your own maximum. Hold yourself to a standard so high that it scares you, challenges you, and forces you to grow every single day. The world may not demand that level from you, but greatness never comes from meeting the world's demands. Greatness comes from meeting your own. When most people hear the word discipline, they think of restriction. They imagine rules, limitations, and a life stripped of pleasure, and because of that, they resist it, they avoid it, they treat it as an enemy, but this is a mistake that keeps countless people trapped exactly where they are. Discipline, when understood correctly, is not a punishment, it is an investment. It is the deliberate decision to trade short-term comfort for long-term power. It is the choice to give your time, energy, and focus to the things that will produce lasting rewards, instead of scattering them on impulses that leave you empty. When you make yourself the goal, discipline becomes the bridge between who you are and who you can become. Without it, dreams stay in the realm of fantasy. With it, you gain the ability to take those dreams and turn them into reality, step by step, day by day. Think of a farmer planting seeds. If he plants them and then walks away, hoping they will grow on their own, he will be disappointed. The weeds will overrun the field, the soil will dry, the plants will wither, but if he shows up every day watering, weeding, protecting, the seeds will flourish. Discipline is that daily showing up. It's the habit of tending to the things that matter before they slip away. When you see discipline as an investment, your mindset changes. Waking up early is no longer an inconvenience, it's a deposit into your bank of productivity. Choosing the gym over the couch is no longer a sacrifice, it's an investment in strength, energy, and longevity. Reading and learning instead of scrolling mindlessly is no longer missing out, it's an investment in a sharper, more capable mind. Every act of discipline pays interest. The first few deposits may not seem to make a difference, but over time the results compound. The body becomes stronger, the mind becomes sharper, the character becomes more resilient. You begin to attract opportunities not because of luck, but because you've become the kind of person who is ready to seize them. Discipline also creates freedom, a truth many people never understand. The undisciplined life feels free in the beginning because you do whatever you want, whenever you want, but soon you become a prisoner of your impulses. You can't say no to bad habits, you can't stick to a plan. You can't stay consistent long enough to see real progress. On the other hand, the disciplined life may feel rigid at first, but over time it opens doors. You have more energy, more options, more control, and more confidence. You're no longer at the mercy of your moods or your circumstances, you direct them. When you make yourself the goal, discipline also becomes deeply personal. You're no longer following rules because someone told you to. You're following them because they align with who you want to be. You see each act of discipline as a vote for your future self. You understand that every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you are casting a vote for the stronger, wiser, more capable version of you. Of course, there will be moments when the old temptations call your name. There will be days when your motivation runs dry and you wonder if it's worth it. Those are the most important moments of all, because they are the moments when discipline is forged. Anyone can act with discipline when they feel like it. True discipline is doing what must be done even when you don't feel like it. That is where growth happens. That is where self-respect is built. The payoff of discipline is not just in the results you get, it's in the person you become. You begin to see yourself differently. You no longer doubt whether you can commit to something and follow through. You no longer wonder if you have what it takes. You've proven it to yourself day after day. And that belief in yourself is worth more than any prize the world can give you. In time, the things that once felt hard become second nature. Waking up early no longer feels like a battle. Eating clean no longer feels like deprivation. Choosing focus over distraction no longer feels like a chore. Discipline stops being something you do and becomes part of who you are. And that is when the investment starts paying you in ways you never expected, not just in achievements, but in peace, in confidence, in the quiet satisfaction of knowing you are in control of your life. So do not run from discipline, embrace it. See it for what it truly is, the price of admission to the life you want, the tool that shapes your future, the investment that always yields the highest return. When you make yourself the goal, discipline is no longer a burden. It is the surest and fastest path to becoming everything you were meant to be. Most people live as if their security comes from things they can hold in their hands: money, possessions, titles, positions. They believe these are the anchors that keep their lives steady, but the truth is, all of these can vanish in a moment. A market crash, a job loss, a sudden twist of fate, and everything you thought was stable can disappear. If your sense of worth is tied to these things, you will feel powerless the moment they are gone. That is why the wise invest in something far more valuable, something no one can steal, no disaster can destroy, and no change in circumstance can touch: the person you become. This is your unshakable inner wealth qualities like resilience, courage, self-mastery, and wisdom. These are assets that never lose value and never depend on anyone else's approval. When you make yourself the goal, every challenge becomes an opportunity to deposit into this inner account. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "How can this make me stronger?" You understand that while you can't control everything that happens in life, you can always control your response. And every time you choose to respond with strength instead of weakness, patience instead of panic, persistence instead of surrender, you are building wealth that no economic downturn can touch. The world can strip you of your job, but it cannot strip you of your ability to create value. It can take away your possessions, but it cannot take away your skill to rebuild. It can change the rules overnight, but it cannot erase your resourcefulness, your discipline, your adaptability. When you own these qualities, you carry your wealth within you. No matter where you go, you bring the source of your success with you. Think about the people who thrive after setbacks. They are not the ones who were handed everything, they are the ones who learned how to rebuild from nothing. They see loss not as the end, but as the beginning of a new chapter. They may start over with empty pockets, but their minds are full of ideas, their hearts are full of determination, and their spirits are full of courage. That is what makes them unstoppable. This kind of inner wealth is built the same way any fortune is built, through steady, consistent investment. Every time you learn a new skill, you are adding to it. Every time you face a fear and act anyway, you are adding to it. Every time you choose patience over frustration, discipline over indulgence, persistence over quitting, you are making a deposit. Over the years, this account grows so large that even the hardest storms cannot drain it. And here is the great irony: when you focus on building yourself, the external rewards often come faster and easier than when you chase them directly, because opportunities naturally flow to people who are skilled, disciplined, and trustworthy. People want to work with them, invest in them, and trust them with greater responsibility. In other words, when you build the person, the life you want begins to build itself around you. But there is another reason why inner wealth is so powerful: it gives you peace. When your confidence is tied to things outside of you, you live in constant fear of losing them. You are always on edge, always watching, always guarding what you have. But when your confidence comes from who you are, you live with the quiet certainty that you can handle whatever comes next. This peace allows you to move through life with courage instead of fear. The greatest security you can ever have is knowing you can start again if you have to. That knowledge frees you from desperation, from clinging to things that no longer serve you, from staying in situations out of fear. You no longer live with the mindset of "I must hold on to what I have." You live with the mindset of "I can create more whenever I choose." Building this kind of wealth is not glamorous at first. It happens in small, often invisible moments: the decision to learn instead of distract yourself, to persist instead of quit, to stay calm instead of lose control. These choices rarely earn applause from others, but they earn something far more valuable: self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation on which all lasting success is built. So while the world rushes to chase what glitters, choose instead to build what lasts. Make yourself so skilled that you cannot be ignored, so disciplined that you cannot be broken, so resilient that you cannot be defeated. When you possess this kind of inner wealth, you will move through life with a quiet power that no one can take away. Because in the end, the truest form of riches is not what you own, it is who you have become. And once you have built that, you will never again fear losing anything. Most people go through life chasing results: a bigger bank balance, a better title, a certain lifestyle, believing that if they can just get there, they will finally feel fulfilled. But the truth is, chasing results without first transforming yourself is like trying to harvest a crop you never planted. You may get something for a while, but it will not last, because you haven't built the person capable of sustaining it. Transformation must come before achievement. Success is not something you pursue blindly. It is something you attract by the person you become. When you focus on results alone, you are building a house without a foundation. It might look good for a moment, but the first storm will knock it down. But when you focus on becoming the kind of person who naturally creates those results, You build something that no storm can destroy. Becoming that person means developing habits, discipline, and character that match the level of life you want to live. It means mastering your thoughts so they work for you instead of against you. It means acting with integrity even when no one is watching. It means doing the right thing not for applause, but because it's the standard you have set for yourself. Think about it. If someone handed you everything you ever wanted tomorrow, the income, the recognition, the freedom, but you hadn't built the discipline to manage it, the wisdom to protect it, and the strength to expand it, it would slip through your fingers. You wouldn't lose it because you were unlucky. You would lose it because you hadn't yet become the person ready to hold it. Transformation before achievement is not about delaying your dreams, it's about ensuring that when your dreams arrive, you are ready to keep them and grow them. It's about working on yourself so deeply that you become a magnet for opportunities, relationships, and resources. When you do this, you no longer have to beg for success. Success seeks you out because you are prepared for it. The process is not always glamorous. You will have to confront parts of yourself that you'd rather avoid. You will have to break old habits and replace them with better ones. You will have to sacrifice comfort in the present for the sake of power in the future. But every step of this process is building the foundation on which your greatest achievements will rest. One of the most liberating truths you can embrace is this: you do not have to wait for the right time. To live at a higher level, you can begin acting like the person you want to become right now. Ask yourself, if I had already achieved my biggest goal, how would I think? How would I speak? How would I act? How would I spend my days? Then begin living that way immediately. When you consistently act like the person you aspire to be, something powerful happens. Your identity begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who is trying to succeed and start seeing yourself as someone who does succeed. And your actions, habits, and results naturally follow that new identity. This is why transformation before achievement is so essential, because your achievements will always rise or fall to the level of your identity. If you see yourself as limited, you will sabotage opportunities without even realizing it. If you see yourself as capable, disciplined, and worthy, you will rise to challenges and grow stronger with each one. There is also a deep peace that comes from this approach. When you focus on becoming, you are no longer desperate for results to validate you. You know you are winning each day you grow. You can be patient because you trust the process. You can face setbacks without losing hope, because you know they are shaping you into someone stronger. And here is the final reward. When you transform yourself first, the achievements you gain are not just bigger, they are more meaningful. They are not accidents or strokes of luck. They are the natural outcome of who you have become. And because you have built the strength, wisdom, and resilience to sustain them, they last. So stop chasing results as if they will save you. Start building yourself into the kind of person who makes those results inevitable. The life you want will not come from luck or chance. It will come from the person you become. And once you have become that person, the success you seek will not just arrive. It will stay.